All right, good morning, everybody. Another video for you this week. Actually, this is the last one for this week. Just want to preface that this video includes information for on-king cards. Going over the content from November 29th, Wednesday, doesn't include any focus stuff except for anatomy, which I activated many days ago. So go check out that video if you want some anatomy refreshers. And then as well as the lectures for actually the first three for today, November 30th. There are some ethics. We'll dive into that a little bit kind of towards the end. There's just a couple cards, and then I'll show you where to find ethics cards just for your use, and then I'll show you me just going through the process of looking at some ethics cards ahead of time to see if there's anything that could be relevant. But likely no cards tomorrow, and then we just got one more week. So hope everyone is on top of their studying. I totally am. All right, we're just going to jump in. There we go. Need that bar move. Okay. So we're just going to stay in first aid for today. And what we're going to do is go down to neurology. Neurology, anatomy, physiology. We're going to jump down to 15, sleep physiology. And you could activate all this, but the cards I don't have activated are they're a bit of a stretch that we don't really need to focus on. So I'm just going to go through the sections. Grab this single basic card. Grab all of the awake ones. Grab all of the non-REM sleep except for the first four. These ones are just ones we didn't go over. They're not high yield for our test. They might be high yield for boards, but at this point, I'm trying to triage a little bit. So I grabbed everything below the first four for non-REM. And then in REM, I got a little funky. So grab the first one, skip the second, get the next three, skip those three, and then get the next six. These ones here, going over like the effects of drugs and stuff, I grabbed this acetylcholine one because I thought, it's the one that's help paralyzing the muscles versus norepinephrine is obviously going to wake you up. But I didn't want to grab these up, the norepinephrine or the alcohol or drugs one. And then down here, it goes into, and we'll grab that one. Just don't get the last three. I wouldn't recommend the last three. This one's going into a PPRF, which I don't think we went over. And then this is just going into a deeper dive down a rabbit hole in regards to how REM sleep affects depression or vice versa. And that was just briefly mentioned. So I grabbed the one card up here for relating it to depression. And then, of course, the elderly patients, because you showed up, because there's a couple graphs and figures on how sleep changes as we age. But that is it for sleep. Then you're going to jump down to the limbic system, and you could just activate this whole thing, just control all, activate all. So that would be control A, control J for me. And you can go back in here and just turn off these bottom two, which you don't need, as well as this one here. We just don't need to know that causes CSF rhinorrhea. And I just want to clarify one thing here. So in the cards, there's a thing called Kluver-Bucy or Bucci syndrome. I don't know if I said that right. I might get a laugh. Kluver-Bucci syndrome. In the Dr. Clark's presentation, he went over Kluver and Bucci. I believe it was Dr. Clark. Maybe it was one of the other professors, but they went over how removing the amygdala out of monkey brains cause the syndrome of hyperphagia, hypersexuality, hyperorality. And basically this syndrome mimics, it's just putting a name to what those monkeys were experiencing. So it's not cars directly related to the experiment per se and what he wanted, and what was literally said, but it's the same concept that Dr. Kluver and Bucci did this to monkeys and got this syndrome that gave the same results. So there's multiple cars. I just wanted to make that aware for when you see it. I don't want it to come as a surprise that, oh, we didn't see that. Same concept of just removing the amygdala. And then there's this card here. It's just going over the current structures in it. And I just made this addition that Dr. Clark, this is what he said was the structures of the limbic system. So I put that in just to passively learn it as I do the card. I just want to make you all aware of that. All right, and then we're going to jump down to section 22, clinical. And we already have part of this activated, this section here. You could probably activate all this if you wanted. The ones I just left out are these two. It's just going over blood supply, and I feel pretty confident about the blood supply, so I just figured 2 less cards for me. But you can activate all of them if you want. They're all really good, and this is, of course, a really good card for going over blood supply, because that ischemia can lead to a lot of pathological conditions. And then identification, I activated all this just because, for one, we do need to know the topography of the cerebral cortex. That is a learning objective for Dr. Clark, I believe. There's not that many cards. And then these ones up above, mainly like half these. Yeah, like half and half. So half is topography, so that's not a lot. And the other half is just naming structures within the brain. And I just want more review on that. So I waited to activate these now because Dr. Elson came up with that lecture this morning that helps with just general anatomy. And then we're going to move to a couple other good ones. So we're going to leave anatomy and physiology. You're going to go into pathology. You're going to come down to 8, aphasia. You're going to grab the second in basics. And we only focused on 4 types of aphasia, so that's all I followed. The other ones kind of include some details that we somewhat learned about, but I'm just focusing on Broca's. So activate all that. Induction, activate all that. Global, activate all that. And Wernicke's, activate all that. That's it. So just basic, the one in basic, Broca's, conduction, global, and Wernicke's. That's all we want to know. Don't want to waste my time with any more cards. All right, and then we're going to leave pathology, come down into psych, and then go into pathology. So psych, not within neuro and social sciences. Psych is its own category, so we'll probably be jumping into that next week. But jump into psych a little early, then go to pathology. We're going to jump down to 7 for amnesias. So we did get to learn some amnesias. So all of them in the anterograde, and then the single one in retrograde. So just 4 cards, but it gets the point across for the retrograde and anterograde when it came to the memory lecture. All right, so that is it for cards that you can find here. Now what I want you to do is go up to the search bar here, the one in the middle, not the one on the left. I want you to type brain death. And there's 2 cards you want. So brain death, you'll get, if you type it exactly like that, you'll get this set of cards. And with your sort arrow down like this, you want to come down until you find this card here. So patient with a coma, absence of brain reflexes, and positive apnea tests suggestive of brain death. Now, positive apnea test means that they can't breathe. There's no independent breathing. And it explains that down here. It explains the apnea test. So when Dr. Clark said to investigate it if you want, they kind of do a good summary here. And then brain death is a legally acceptable definition of death. If someone is brain dead, they're dead. So I just picked up these 2 cards to knock that point across. But otherwise, strongly recommend going over the lectures for like memory learning, going over all them to make sure that you're getting all the details, because Anki does not cover it all. I just like to use Anki as a supplement. It's very quick, efficient studying for me. All right, so now let's go investigate some ethics. So what you do is first aid, public health, ethics here. And then there's a bunch here. So core ethical principles, decision-making capacity. We'll just run through quick. I had all that activated, that's all activated, that's activated. Yeah, it's really, they don't really have any. Well, that is relating to C and R. That's your A and O times 4. So let's grab that one. Nope. 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 We might activate those later, but that's just testing. Yeah. So I just grabbed this one. It's helpful. A and O for the neuro exam. But that is it for this video. So hope that's helpful. Definitely recommend doing some practice questions, doing other study methods besides Anki. This is just what Anki deck had for us today. So not a lot, and hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, happy studying.